Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Tracer. Welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at my Botanica generator that I made. So to give a little bit of context behind this, I'm kind of new to Botanica, more or less kind of new in the space that I'm looking at tutorials and stuff like that of the genre itself. And one thing about Botanica that kind of annoyed me is the amount of automation and sample dependence that the genre currently has. So I came up with an idea to create a rack where I can just make Botanica fills and just have those in a little thing, and I can just generate them. So this is what this is, and I'm just going to break it down and show you exactly how I made it. I will say that I probably won't release this just because it depends on a lot of samples. That's why I'm showing you it here. Let's kind of break down and let's see how this works. So starting off, I started with an FPC. This is a device in FL Studio where you can load up drum samples, but I'm using it in a very different purpose. We have a bunch of like textures and just one shots and pads and Foley and stuff like that. We start off with the chord shots. So this just has a bunch of just chords and stuff like that. Basically, I went through all my samples and sample packs, and I just put a bunch of them in here. There's over 77. I even went through some Super Looperman stuff, finding some stuff there. And I took all these and I put them in the key of C major, just so I have everything consistently in one key, so you could tune them here. Some of them are changed. I also randomized the pan on some of them. You can also go to this bottom section here, and you can hit the reverse button. It can reverse the sample. So I did that on some of them. Another thing that I did, if that each of these have a envelope, and so this one just has a very, not steep, but it does climb. You don't really hear it, but you're mostly getting the overtones and not really the attack of the sound. So I wanted to make it more a risery kind of sound, and so yeah. Moving on, we have one shots. So this has like a bunch of synth samples and stuff like that. Oh, I forgot to mention, once you're putting a bunch of samples in here, push this button. I would also just turn off the scale the velocity. And I will also show you how to output each of these pads to a different lane of just the output lanes of the synths. We have it up here called the output, and we could just set it to send 1 or none. So we have pretty much 5 different lanes we can send it to. Another thing that I did is that so the samples don't try to bleed into each other after triggering them, I cut them by itself, each one of these. Oop, I didn't cut the Foley. Oof. Quickly, just do that. So each one of these is going out to an output track. So all the ones that are colored are going out to different ones. So the one shots are going out to its own lane. The chord shots, I would say. And then the one shots. Then the pads and the atmospheres and the natural textures. More of the natural textures has like more just more synth loops but more like breathy and stuff. And just weird stuff. And then the Foley going out to a separate thing, and the glitch textures are going out to a different thing too. The glitch textures are just like from like weird glitch recordings and yeah, I would really just play around with the envelope too. That does affect the sound a lot. So let's take a look at what they're sending it to. So the one shots themselves are, or the chord shots, I should say, they're just going to this is basically just OTT. This is just compressing the sound, some EQ, and then I bring it onto a delay just to lengthen it up a little bit. Just very short, and very little feedback though, just a little bit longer. And there is a reverb send, so I can just send stuff to the reverb anytime I want. And we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but then let's go move on to the chord shots. Bring this back up. Or the one shots. I keep forgetting this one, I'm sorry about that. So this one is going to a DG Spiral. This is the same guy who made Emergence, but this is more of a shimmer effect and that kind of stuff. Also have the repeats randomly being generated from this peak controller here. So that's just going through, picking random values, and it's just doing that. We have another delay, and just a little bit longer than the last one. And I think I'm more spread on that too. There's more EQ, and the big thing is actually using the spectral compressor. The spectral compressor just kind of normalizes the sound a little more. So if I were to hit the one shot, it just takes the sound and kind of flattens it out and make it more consistent. I'm not doing that much on this version, but the other spectral compressors I'm using do flatten out a lot more. Let's move on to the pads and atmospheres. So just EQ, going at the low end, just removing that low end, you know. Then a chroma. And this is a unique effect where it's, you know, I don't have to really worry about what key the thing is in, so I could just, you know, have that, and it makes it more watery. We have some more natural stuff coming through. So which is more OTT here. Then just more cleanup after the OTT. I just like cleaning up after OTT. And then there's a soothe that removes a lot of the like, there's a lot of like rain sounds, so I wanted to remove like the more noisier ones. So if I open them back up, and so yeah, just a little more, less noisy. And this goes through a much stronger spectral compressor, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it kind of lags when I click on stuff. But I apologize for that. The next is a texture. So this is just more glitchy stuff. So this is going to a spectrum compressor and it's doing the very similar thing what we did the last chain. Then that is going to a chroma, and it's in key, OTT, clean up, and I added an auto pan where it's just random, just a mess, and I smoothed it out a little bit just so it's not so jagged, and it just pans it left and right randomly. So, yep. And then the last bank is the Foley. This is a little more interesting, and I do a little bit more on this side, just to get more watery textures. So if you've ever made Botanica before, you can always find tutorials of people doing this. And yeah, so I use a compressor just to make the sounds a little more consistent. And then I took a reverb and just to get more beef, not really more beef, but more length to them. I wanted to work with them a little bit more, and that's what I'm doing here too. Just I'm also randomizing the delay time, so I get little squelchy effects here and there. whenever you move the time on a delay, it makes a squelchy noise. So, kind of hard to tell here, but then I use a frequency shifter with the frequency and the feedback of it being randomized. So, and there's also a little bit mixed down a little bit, and I did like a stereo effect here too. But this stuff really doesn't matter because it's all of it going through a spectral gate. So a spectral gate is pretty much like is like an OTT, but it's gating noises and it makes really watery textures. So I can play around with this and show you. So, one. Yeah. Just play around. Oh, I hit this. I hit the spacebar. Yeah, it just makes watery textures. This is another spectral compressor, just flatten out the sound a little bit more. And I used a bit crush to add a little more high end, but I'm randomizing the bit crush sound as well. And then we just have this chain at the bottom, which just adds a chroma, more OTT, another autopan just getting left and right here. And this is like a gate I did on Kilohertz Dynamics. So I can very quickly show you. You're just gating the noise here and there. So it's not as aggressive and stuff like that. It's a little more controlled. Then everything is being routed to another OTT just to blend the sound together. And then some EQ. I just wanted a little more mids in there. Cutting off the low end, just cleaning it up. And there's just a reverb send that just adds more, link to them. And you know what a reverb is. But I do put a chroma on that reverb just to have a little more color to it. There's also, I'm playing around with the surface here. So I have on the bank itself, I have the attack and the decay mapped on each of these. So I can actually control the length of them. So if I want a more attacky sound. And so I can just, have a little more control over that, and I just have a reverb knob that adds more. And I can remove the color on that. And I will probably build onto this rack over time and make sure that I get it to where I want it. But keep in mind that usually these are just up to flavor, taste, or opinion. And you pretty much use anything here. And you can use all kinds of crazy other techniques in this to make other stuff. That is pretty much it. Where to get samples for these packs? I have some suggestions. So there is Codely Sample Server. They do a giant pack every once in a while, and there's a bunch of great samples in here. I actually have some in here too. Great place to get samples. There's a thing called I'm trying to find it. One shots to your thing. This has a bunch of just one shots from just different instruments in it. So this is great for this pack, just putting one shots in. And then there's a couple Botanica packs that I have found. So Novel School Supplies Volume 1. I have no idea how to say that. Don't ask me. Glitch with Friends. And I think all these are free. So go check them out. I might leave a couple linked in the description. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I will be leaving a pack of samples I've generated with this. and go ahead and grab those for free. I also am working on a couple packs right now, and I actually recently released one earlier this year called Flower Cafe. This is $1, and it'd be great if you guys support me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. See you guys in the next one.